Okay, we're live.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I guess what I'd like to do is, before we do anything, I think you've all had a chance to meet her, but our new staff member is Sarah McCasney. I think I pronounced that right.
You
Yeah.
did excellent
Yeah.
job.
Very
A lot of confidence.
And Sarah is coming in and much welcome, because we were just getting buried with paperwork. So she's coming in to kind of fill the role, if you all recall, like Bridget, that we had last year, up and went on to other things. So Sarah is coming in and has already hit the ground running since her first day was yesterday, or Tuesday, in preparation for our independent audit, which was yesterday.
Yeah,
So
it was baptism by fire.
Yeah, talking to the deep end.
And she came back.
She did, she did great. Our audit yesterday was like 3 hours quicker than it normally is,
Well, yeah.
mostly because of Sarah, yeah.
The auditor actually made a comment how organized everything was, you know. And
Well,
so-
Heidi and
I
Steve
took credit
made
for it
easy to
completely, by
succeed.
the way. But anyway, welcome, Sarah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, I guess what we'll do, let's do REAC quick, and then we'll, if that's okay.
Get started.
Let's go. Okay, so with that said, I guess we'll motion to call to order. And I'll do roll call. Mark Geller, Raj Amar,
Here.
Tim Riley. Okay, all present. Okay, we have no action items, we have no new business, we have no old business. The treasurer's report is the usual cast of characters, except we do have a closing fee in there of $109,000 on the Dominican bonds. Thank you, gentlemen, for a job well
Yeah.
done.
Really, that was a
For
big
saving REAC.
project, yeah.
Yeah, just when we think it's about ready to, we need some financial help, big influx comes in. And balancing that out
You
with
want to call
the,
me the funny sense.
so last month we had 109,000 come in, and I think we had $175 go out for the bookkeeper who noted that 109,000 came in. So that's that. And with that said, that's the REAC business.
Motion to close.
Okay, second. Okay, all in favor? Okay, we are closed. All right. All right, I will make, do a roll call for the IDA. Mark Geller, Raj Amar,
Here.
Tim Riley. Okay, what I'd like to do, if you don't mind, because we do have a guest today, I'd like to, even though he's very gracious and says he'll sit through our meeting, I'd like to, we have Bill Mooney joining us today, and it was going to talk about some investment elements that we have had discussion about. And if I believed in conferring with counsel that we're going to be talking about contracts and legal advice. So I'd like to, we need to go into executive session. So if someone would like to make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, you're seconding?
No, Raj is.
Raj is. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so we're in executive session.
So what
Okay,
Okay, might as well close the door, it gets close in here fast.
Okay.
I'll close the door, it gets close in here fast.
I'll make a motion to come out of executive session.
Okay, came at 11:25. Okay, action items, we have an authorizing resolution for connectivity. I know Dan, right, you want to speak to that briefly? I mean, it's just it's just an authorizing resolution.
yeah, we had a public hearing, no comment.
Yeah, it's set, they're doing three parts, sales tax, mortgage recording tax, and then also a pilot at some point. And of course, the way we typically do these, the pilot, we're approaching March 1st, what's Saturday. So obviously, they're not gonna get the pilot for the next coming tax year. But that's never been an inhibition to go ahead and close on the sales tax portion prior to that. And, obviously with Rockland, they've got to go to each of the other taxing entities, those taxing entities that are participating and get their sign off. So, and they might be condominiumizing, not the building itself, but if you recall, the building is part of a larger 4 or 5 building complex, and this is the last building. It all sits on one lot, and they may cut off the portion of the property that this building will sit on as a condominium. And that's something Ron and I are going to work with them on. But that really we wouldn't have to worry about until we get to the pilot portion of the project.
What is the pilot approved by the town?
Not yet. No, and that's why they're not applying this year. Yeah.
This is the same people that had come here before, right?
We induced them, yeah, they're building, they have an existing, it's over in Muncie.
It's a Muncie,
Yeah, and they're building up another building, but they're specifically excluding their other buildings that are already up. This is just for a brand new building. So, again, there's some mechanical things we're gonna have to do.
But it's one lot.
Well, yes, right now it's one lot, and they're looking to condominiumize it, break it off, so this will be separate.
From a legal perspective, I think that's a good way to approach this, because you don't want to take all of the lots off the tax rolls, you just want to take this one building. So you need to create a separate tax lot.
And is the other ones also on the pilot program?
I'm
Are
sorry.
the others?
No, we have
So it's
nothing to
just
do
this
with that.
particular, we have nothing to do with that, okay.
And because of this unique, or to me anyway, this unique, I'll call it a subdivision, but it's condominiumizing. What we might have to do at some point is have this, we've already had the public hearing.
We
on
had
this.
one public hearing, no comment.
Yes, that'll get us ready for the sales tax portion of it. But once the project is condominiumized and we know the name of the owner of the new condominium unit, we'll want to make them a project participant as well. So we might have to do another public hearing and then amend this authorizing resolution to bring paperwork, to bring them into the project as
So
well.
it's just something like.
What they're doing is the big lot, they could probably only get a pilot for the small piece. So they gotta separate it so that they can negotiate that pilot, and that's why it took so long.
Okay.
The town's saying the existing buildings, no pilot.
Right.
Okay,
Okay,
you need a motion?
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mark Geller.
Aye.
Roger Moore.
Yes.
Jim Riley. What? Sorry, catch you off guard there. And just as an aside, if anybody wonders the order of why I call the names in order of longevity on the board.
Okay,
So,
so I'm senior.
yeah, just so I'm consistent rather than randomly. So like Mark, you're the newest member, so I always call your name first, then Raj, and Tim. And Peg is, I guess,
I didn't hear.
somewhere, but I think Peg and Raj came on, you guys came on around the same time.
She, probably, but I think she was just slightly, maybe
I
a
think
month
she
or
was
two.
just ahead of you.
Yeah, they have the same dates of,
Yeah.
when we have to renew you.
That was just a little aside from us.
Yeah.
Okay, the next item is Route 59 LLC Sales Tax Exemption Extension. This is actually an older project. We had approved them, this was years ago. This is an office building going where the old Route 59 drive-in theater was.
Oh, this is.
It's older. They put it up, but then they hit delays of COVID, they hit delays of zoning, delay. They're building, and it's well on its way to building, but their sales tax extension expired. So they're asking to extend, they got about $500,000 more, and historically, we do extend it when there's extenuating circumstances.
This is the old movie theater.
Yeah.
On
The
59.
old drive-in
In
theater.
Muncie.
In Muncie.
Yeah,
In Muncie,
Next
yeah.
to the old park map.
Yes.
Yes.
across from Orange Mountain.
We did approve this a few years ago.
Oh, yeah,
this is
not even, this is like, could be a 2000 and,
It closed September 2021.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Second? Okay.
Get ready, Mark.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll call it Mark Geller, Roger Martin, Riley, okay. Next item, Joanio Partnership Resolution. I did send you guys the actual agreement the other day, but the agreement, we can discuss it to the extent you like, but the short version is, it reflects what we talked about, the timing, the monitoring,
Yes.
all that stuff. Joanio, knowing that, to tee it up, they had their board meeting Tuesday night, unanimously approved it. They're anxiously awaiting our decision and to get going. So again, we can discuss to the extent you want, or if this is really kind of just a continuation of this. Yes.
No, go ahead.
Debate? Originally, we thought 3 years.
Yeah.
They knocked it down to 2.
They asked for 3 years, we knocked it, the payout is over 2. We condensed it based on our discussion, if you recall at that meeting. We talked about, we didn't want to spread the payments out over 3 years, we wanted to get the money out the door. To do an initial payment and then just about a year from now, give them the rest.
Okay.
But they'll be under the guise of our monitoring.
Oh, yeah, my big concern was the monitoring, which is
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
All right.
So why did we bring it to 2 years?
Because we didn't want to, we wanted to get the money out the door. Like, we didn't want to spend 3 years giving them 170, whatever.
Well,
We
if
said,
we do it in 2 years, and again, it doesn't matter if Giovanni or anybody else, we should really continue to do it for 3 years, for the simple fact that we want to make sure that you don't know what happened the first year, right?
we have the right to,
I mean, Giovanni is the season, so it's not a big deal.
right, we have the ability, if I'm not mistaken, Rudy, I mean, we can evaluate before we issue, right? I mean, we're not, if say
Yeah,
something.
you're not bound to the second installment.
Right,
Until late.
that's right.
You're not bound to it at all. I mean, if you review their records and think that they're meeting the goals that, in their workforce development that you're shooting for, then it's up to you whether you want to make the second installment. That's just, the way the agreement is now. I don't know that Giovanni has, I think they signed off on it, but
So let's assume that they start on April 1st, so April of 2026, they expect a second payment, to be fair to them, right? But you haven't had a chance to evaluate what happened in the first year. I mean, you will be consistently evaluating. I think going forward, in this particular case, it's okay, but going forward, you should really try to do it for 3 years because it breaks it up and gives you an idea. Let's say the first year they do everything right and the second year they screw up.
It's a good point. In other words,
Well-
don't give, well, yeah.
I mean, I think one of the reasons was for the predictability of them being able to staff and know that they had the fund. I mean, there were a number, it wasn't just based on
The
that.
point of Raj is making is in the second year, if they screw up, there's no way of us recouping that money.
Giovanni's season, so we're not gonna fight this one. But going forward,
Okay.
we should try to keep it for 3 years.
Okay. All right.
Well, then they can do it in the third year. The point is the final payment has to be completion of the project. That's what you want.
Good point.
Well,
Yeah.
we can't though,
Yeah,
because this.
I know, it's a catch-22.
We're
Right, 'cause they
funding-
need that
We're
fund,
funding
those
them
funds
to
to do
complete
the
the project.
project.
Like,
Right,
they
no,
can't,
I understand
like, these people are working this, unlike, let's say, for example, BOCES, which is almost a reimbursement structure. They're going out buying.
Right, that's.
Right, we could,
Yeah.
to your point, that's right, we'd say, okay, hey, what are the results? What do you mean you bought a lot of equipment no one's using? Why are we continuing to fund this? This is different, these are salaries.
Okay, there's a simple reason, it's retainage. Take a percentage, whether it's 5%, 10%, and they get it upon completion of the project. So they'll have to live without that $5,000-$10,000, which isn't a lot of money.
No, they have that, yeah.
But you get my point?
Mhm.
That's what we do in my industry. You can't get your final payment, there's retainage until everything is completed, all the i's are dotted and all the t's are crossed. That's all. I mean, I'm okay with this, but that's something we should
But
be
going forward, you want, okay,
Yeah,
good, 'cause we may be
that's all.
doing something.
Forgive me, but I thought it was 3 years to begin with. I don't think we ever discussed 2 years.
But even with the 3 years, Raj, the payment schedule would have been the same. In other words, if it was a 3-year deal, when we entered the third year, they would have got the money up front. That was never,
But now you have 24 months of experience to back it up. Here you
Okay.
have 12.
well, and what I suggest we do is if April 1st is the day, then in March, we ask them to submit their records for our review to release the April payments, the second payments.
Oh,
I mean, yeah,
We're not giving them any more money until we have the
they're doing these numbers
results.
quarterly for their grants anyway, so.
I don't
Probably
expect
see a
anything to
long-
go wrong. I'm just
Yeah.
looking for accountability, for
Yeah.
control, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, they're seasoned, right?
Right.
So it's not that,
Yes,
it's
they
not
know
that a
they're-
fly-by-night company.
Right.
You know, they've been a nonprofit for many,
Yeah.
many, many years, and they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
But there will be somebody you might be helping
Yeah.
tomorrow
Yeah.
that you don't know is going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
as seasoned as they are.
Yeah, no, I think you make an excellent point.
All right, so what I would suggest is we go ahead and approve this,
Okay,
and going forward, we know what we have to correct.
okay.
What are the
And-
chances,
Go ahead.
sorry, what are the chances of them coming back in 2 years and asking for more?
I think pretty high, yeah. I
See
think
how it
if
works.
this, yeah, if it's a successful program, I think they're going to want to
Yeah, I mean,
continue.
I think listen, there's a certain limit to how much we're going to.
Yeah.
And forget Juanio for a second. I think in the world in general, there may be, listen, the world changes. In a couple of years, we may decide that we want to take funds and invest in something else, or something changes out there.
Don't you have limitations to invest in something else?
Pardon me?
You have a lot of limitations to that, right?
Well, we have very limited,
We have a
it has to be
significant
strictly for
limitations.
economic development.
Like, we can't own real estate.
Right.
We can't invest in businesses per se.
Is that the state law? Is that a law that?
That's a state, that's a statute, and we did not, well, IDAs, there are IDAs that operate industrial parks. We are not, our local charter that was approved by our legislature forbids us from that. We can't own property per se.
That would be like, just for argument's sake, let's buy New City a fire truck. You know, we have the money, we can't do it,
Can't do it,
because it doesn't deem to,
Yeah.
it doesn't go to economic development.
right. We can't help Meals on Wheels, even though
Right.
they're a great organization, not
You
workforce
can't do
development.
But they're
Well,
for,
she's-
they're for profit, right? Meals on Wheels?
No, they're not, they're a 501c3, but we can, we're limited to economic development oriented investments, like we could do
Why
things.
can't you buy a truck?
Because it doesn't,
Doesn't make,
it
but they
doesn't
can
help.
help buy a
economic
house for that.
Couldn't do that either.
No, couldn't do that either. What we're doing with BOCES and Joanio is we're,
Because you're bringing more people in now.
right, we're helping them
It's workforce development.
Right.
So,
And that's what's crazy, there's a million organizations out there that I'm sure everybody at the board would love to help, but we're very limited in what we can do.
all right, so I guess with that said, what we have is an agreement partially executed by Juanio that they signed off on. We have a resolution that our board has to author, essentially this resolution, and Rudy, I'll defer to you. Essentially, it's authorizing us to enter into this partnership agreement with Juanio, and you're authorizing me to go ahead and sign it and write the checks and et cetera.
Right, it basically summarizes the agreement, but
Right,
the agreement's not attached.
Right,
to
but
the
it's a
resolution.
form of, it's in the form of a resolution authorizing us to go ahead and do this.
What do you think, Russ?
They already approved it, I think at this point, let's just move forward with it.
All right. Well, we'll learn from this and improve it down the road.
All right, so do we have a motion, or,
I'll make the motion.
okay, do I have a second? Okay. Do I have, okay, so this one I'll call roll call. Mark Geller, Raj Amar,
Yes.
Tim Riley.
Yes.
Okay, for what it's worth, Peg isn't here, but informally, and obviously that doesn't count as a vote, but she was for this as well, just so you know.
Do you want to talk about, while we're on this subject, about the consultant that we talked to?
Let me come back to that. I got one other thing.
Yep.
In anticipation and their hopes of us approving this, Giovanni would very much like to invite us all, everyone here, to come over to their place for a little bit of a ceremony, kind of a nice feel-good moment. They deeply, deeply appreciate this effort. It has enabled them to do things they otherwise simply wouldn't have been able to do. And they've thrown out some dates, either if I can ask you to maybe check your calendars, or when you have the opportunity, either next Thursday, February 27th at 10 a.m., or the following Tuesday, March 4th at 10 a.m. So this would be a week from today, or the following Tuesday, both at 10 a.m. at their facility over on Old New Hempstead Road. So no, that's, but
Little Torn.
Little Torn,
Little
Phillips
Torn.
Hill, yeah.
In the, I believe we're gonna do it in the pulpit bridal room, all that. They'd love to have us there, have a little ceremony, and have us do a little tour. So we have an opportunity to touch and feel, no, that's not the right words. We get a chance to see firsthand. Yeah. Right about. Get a chance to see firsthand some of the work they're doing with some of the, the consumers, some of the programs, and some of the staff. That's something I think with everyone, love to have everyone, but I guess,
Okay.
take a look.
Could you do me a favor? Send us an email.
Yeah, I'll send you all an email, follow up and see if your schedules allow. It will be brief, it won't be an all-day thing, you won't get sucked up into 2 hours, but I think they very much would like to show their appreciation.
Okay.
Okay, they get a commitment where they're getting their bagels, but I'm sure it'll be good. Okay. All right,
I
so.
could say something now, but I won't.
Right. Okay. All right, so that is our action. Now, we did our investment presentation. Would you like to jump to the consultant discussion?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That'll work.
So when we were up in Albany last week, we sat down with Camoin Associates, just one of the consulting groups. We have some history with them. Just as an aside, they had done the Empire program with us 20 years ago. So they're very familiar with Rockland. But we started with them, but there's other consultants. We had a chat with them as far as providing a comprehensive plan of how and where we can invest our money. Even today, there were questions about what can we do, what we can't do. Things like investment in community, things like workforce development, be it that. So I guess we're putting to the board that we'd like to have them, retain them to help us put together a comprehensive game plan on that.
Do we have any idea what that would cost?
At this point, no. We're having a call with them today at 1:30, and I think that would be the ask. If we want to pursue this, that would be the.
I personally, I think we have to pursue it.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said last week or last month, we're low hanging fruit with the money we have. And we don't know what we're doing in the sense that we don't know how to spend it. So let's have somebody, we'll quote an expert, come in and tell us these are the cans and the cans. And then we can decide what we want to do, if we want to do anything with the money.
When we were up there, we asked that specific question, is this something they do? And they were very specific. This is something that's not uncommon among IDAs. Because the state can be funny, the ABO, some IDAs we don't, just be relaxed. Some IDAs really push the envelope on what they can spend money, and then they get slapped hard by the state, by the state ABO, the authority's budget office. You hear some things that IDAs do, and you're kind of stunned that they do it. Like, what were they thinking? Their intents were good, but it was so obviously not something they should be doing.
Steve, we've always done right.
Yeah.
So let's keep on the path we are on.
Yep.
We don't need to make a lot of changes, but we can hear out what the options we have that we don't know.
Right, exactly. Okay, so good. That's all we need. We don't really need a formal decision, just telling us to go ahead and pursue that.
Yeah.
Low-key rural labor reports. If you look at your report, we're by and large good, with one exception.
Yes,
Who is it this time?
green development.
Who's green development?
They're
building
the place right down here, the housing on Main Street,
Okay.
North
by
Main
the
Street.
library,
Yep.
other side of the road. Yeah,
They're at 20%,
28.
28%.
Well, how many people do they have?
Well, it's really one contractor that's the culprit, the framers, but it's 233.
233 people? Yeah, that's a problem.
So-
My point being is that they're at 75% because there's 4 people on the job.
Right,
You know.
yeah, and there's some other, we always take that into
Yeah, that's what I mean.
consideration.
That's
or
why I
if
asked how
it's-
many people.
Yeah, no, this is a little more of a red flag, so we
Oh,
have
so
acted.
we're gonna test our system?
Well,
Also,
ready,
we have
Go
to,
into executive session on this, maybe?
what's it?
You might want to go into executive session.
Okay,
Okay.
let's.
I'll make that motion. Thanks, David.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, motion to come out of executive session.
I'll make the motion.
Motion to come out of executive. Okay. Let's see, the treasurer's report. Again, usual,
Is that the last thing on the agenda?
yes, it is.
Are you gonna mention the fair in with Jenna?
Oh, yes, I will. Let's discuss that as old business.
Okay.
Okay. So, do you want to talk about, I'll let you do that. This is the energy, or not the energy, economic development.
Development Summit. So we've partnered with Jenna Nazario, who has taken over for Lucy, who retired with the Rockland County Economic Development. So she has put together this idea that she wants to do an economic summit, which is going to be during, is it International Economic Week or
Yeah.
some international, some
Matches up with
economic
National
week?
Donut Day or
Yeah,
something.
March 14th, there's going to be 2 sessions, one during the morning for more of the business community, and then an evening session for the residents. And her goal is really to just touch base with the community about economic development in Rockland, open the conversation. So we've been meeting with her and the Rockland Business Association, Ken Zabrowski and Al Samuels, every other week for a couple months now.
You said it was March, isn't it?
March, May
Thank
14th,
you.
But
yeah.
what Jenna and her team are bringing a lot of energy into this.
Yeah.
Very welcome. And because if you think about broader strokes, a lot of projects that, there's people that just don't have a good understanding of why is economic development. They say, why is, some XYZ corporation getting a tax break? Well, here's why. Here's why if you want to see change in your community, you can't say no.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it is, we talked about the idea of like, how do we have communities say yes to new development versus always getting shot down? People want to see things, but then say no to everything.
Right.
So this is educational thing. There will be a day session that will be primarily business, an evening session that will be for residents. Did I
Is it
get,
an online session or is it a physical place?
I think it'll be both.
It will be both. We're going to do physical and it will be live streamed so that the community can see it.
And it's gonna be at,
The JCCY for the evening session, which will also include some sort of childcare. We're putting that together so that people with young children can attend.
and we are gonna assist with some of the finance. It won't be a lot of money.
It's
Right.
not gonna be very expensive.
It's not going to be
We
big,
will
but
help
we
out.
are going to assist, yeah.
There's gonna be some marketing and some, social media and some hard costs associated. with
Right.
nothing
We
of any-
volunteered Steve to moderate,
Well, I'm on it, actually.
He's running the day.
Yeah, Steve, that's Steve too.
I'm in charge of kickball. I got my, but I think I don't know if I'm moderating the night session or did I get stuck with it?
I think we can soon. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're there.
So, which I'm sure will be the fun one.
Uh-huh.
But the IDA used to have an annual breakfast, was it, or luncheon?
Well, we did that at
Did
the,
At the,
Yeah.
we did that over the,
Yeah, we brought that back.
well, we did in the past, but the breakfast meeting.
The
we did.
Nyack Bridge.
Oh, nice, that's what I mean. All right.
Yeah.
So this is kind of one of those, but the county wants us to partner with them.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It is good.
The
I
county
think
has
Jen-
no money. They probably want you to pay a part of it. The county.
Well, it's funny, Jen, and I hope in case Cheryl is watching, monitoring, they are asked to do a lot, but with very little budget,
Mhm.
They do good, they are bringing tremendous energy into it.
Yeah.
New perspectives and,
Yeah, and I like that feeling of like, let's go out into the public and kind of make that connection
It's a
and,
job.
Yeah.
It's gotta go.
So. All right, so that's
Finances.
finances, if there's any.
Are we
if you
still
want-
in, executive? Are we-
no, we're not.
Is there, again, I'm looking to see if there's anything that jumps out. No, most of it's just typical reimbursements and normal bills, there's nothing. I will put, is there any questions about the finances?
I'll make a motion to accept the financial report.
Okay,
You want to second this?
Sure, second.
okay. Joe, Mark Geller, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, before we end the meeting, it's that time of year again where they're ramping up for the annual Economic Development Conference up in Cooperstown.
Mhm.
Anybody who wants to know more about it, who wants to think about it, because those rooms go quick or the accommodations go quick, and also we get very little or no warning. This is May 21st through the 23rd.
Yes.
That's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I think we typically go up Tuesday because it starts first thing, because there's a board meeting 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning, Tim.
You're looking at me for.
No, I'm frowning for me, because usually the conference doesn't start till after lunch, so I take advantage of that beautiful golf course. But anyway, it's a beautiful conference, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Again, I throw it out to anybody that wants.
It's always the week before Memorial Day. That's how
It's
I.
that Memorial Day weekend, I know, Mark, you always seem to have a conflict on that.
Beautiful course.
He's gonna be in his hometown, the other hometown. That's the time to be there. I don't blame you.
But anyway, we can talk offline on this versus we are transmitting. But
Yeah.
I wanted to put it out to you, I will throw the dates out more formally, I just want to give you,
Yeah.
like, an idea of it, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna quickly go through the minutes and we're done. Call to order, 11:10. Authorizing resolution, the board unanimously approved the authorizing resolution for connectivity. The board unanimously, following brief discussion, approved the extension resolution for Route 59. The board discussed the Joanio Partnership Resolution, discussing the allocation of funds and other things, but a motion to accept it was made, and I'll be the particulars as far as who made what motions, and that was adopted. New business, we did that in executive session because that involved legal and contractual discussions, so that was done in executive session prior to the other items. The board discussed the low-key labor reports and specifically, one project, executive session to discuss that matter. This board, instructed the executive director to pursue discussions with a consultant regarding an agency expenditure plan. The board discussed the Economic Development Symposium plan for May. The board reviewed and accepted the treasurer's report for January. That's it.
Motion to accept.
Okay.
Motion to close.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're done.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Mark, I know you always have to.
We're going around.